My family thought I was joking when I told them the truth about the money. I couldn't believe it. Just the other day, they mentioned such a small, insignificant amount, claiming that's all I'd been sending them. Meanwhile, my phone was buzzing nonstop with calls from my parents, one after another, relentless. When I finally picked up, their voices were loud, almost shouting, before I could even get a word in. At first, I couldn't make sense of what my dad was saying. His words came fast, jumbled, leaving me utterly confused, like I was caught in a storm I didn't see coming. Later, I pieced it together. They were furious, absolutely livid, over the money they thought I was sending my sister, Mira. They claimed Mira, with her glamorous modeling career, was sending them a whopping $112,000 every single month. In their eyes, I was only contributing a measly 80 cents. 80 cents. Can you imagine? But that wasn't true, not even close. I had been sending $112,000 every month, just like Mira, stretching myself thin to make it happen. You must be lying, they insisted, their voices dripping with disbelief. Mira earns so much more than you. She's the one sending us $112,000 every month. We're so disappointed in you, Amanda. Mira is so thoughtful, so caring, my father grumbled, his tone heavy with frustration. My mother didn't hold back either. She joined in, criticizing my lifestyle, my choices. Do you think it's okay to just live on your own, splurging your money on yourself? Why can't you be more like your sister? She cares about us so deeply, she sighed, her disappointment cutting like a knife. I've always felt this shadow over me, this sense that they favored Mira. She was stunning, turning heads wherever she went, her beauty undeniable. Me, on the other hand, I was often overlooked, faded into the background. People couldn't help but compare us, always praising her radiant beauty while joking about how plain I looked standing next to her. From a young age, it was crystal clear to everyone, friends, family, even strangers, that Mira was destined for greatness, whether in acting or modeling. My parents doted on her endlessly, showering her with the newest, trendiest clothes, enrolling her in every class she wanted, from dance to drama. Meanwhile, I made do with her hand-me-downs, no classes, no special treatment. Mira grew up spoiled, entitled, believing that what was mine was hers by right. She'd take my things without asking, my books, my clothes, even my favorite necklace, and when I dared to protest, my parents would brush it off. Let it go, Amanda. She's younger. Be a good older sister, they'd say, dismissing my feelings so easily, always siding with her. Over the years, this favoritism only grew worse, sinking its roots deeper into our family. In elementary school, when Mira decided she wanted her own room, my parents didn't hesitate to uproot me. They moved me to the living room, of all places, justifying it with, "You don't have many belongings, Amanda. There's plenty of space for you to sleep out here." So the living room became my bedroom, surrounded by old family portraits staring down at me, a constant reminder of my place in the family. Feeling overlooked, undervalued, and pushed aside, I eventually made a bold decision. I stopped sending money home. I hoped it would make a point, force them to see me, to acknowledge my efforts. My name is Amanda. I'm 31 years old, and I work at a food processing company, carrying the weight of being the less favored child while my stunning sister, Mira, 6 years younger, basked in the limelight and affection I never felt from our parents. Despite the cold treatment, the harsh comparisons, I pressed on, holding tight to the memory of my grandparents, who had always cherished me. My name, Amanda, was chosen by my grandfather during the vibrant spring season when Amanda's flowers were in full bloom. He adored those flowers, their resilience, their ability to thrive even after harsh winters. As a child, I loved sitting on his lap, wrapped in his warmth, listening to his comforting words. Amanda, he'd say, his voice steady and kind, no matter how tough things get, you can always push through. After the hardships, Happiness will bloom again, just like an Amandus in spring. Those words stayed with me, echoing in my heart, especially during the darkest times. As I grew older, it became painfully obvious that my parents treated Mira and me differently. I never truly felt at home in my own house. When I shared my dream of becoming a school nurse and wanted to discuss university entrance exams, my parents shut me down without a second thought. "We can't afford university fees for you, Amanda. Think about your sister, Mira. We need to save for her future," they insisted. Financially, we were an average family, not struggling by any means, but my dreams were pushed aside to prioritize Mira's ambitions. After high school, while Mira went off to a prestigious university, I entered the workforce, landing a job at a small to medium-sized company a few train stops from home. Eventually, I moved out, renting a modest studio apartment near work. It was a relief to be on my own, away from the constant comparisons and favoritism that suffocated me at home. Mira, meanwhile, flourished at university and was soon scouted by a talent agency during a shopping trip with friends. My parents were over the moon, constantly boasting about her modeling career, her bright future. One day, Mira called me, her voice bubbling with excitement and gratitude. "We owe everything to Mom and Dad," she said. "Let's start giving them $112,000 each month to show our appreciation." The amount stunned me. $112,000 was an enormous sum, and while modeling might pay well, I was only earning about $66,000 a month at my job. If I agreed, I'd have to slash my expenses drastically, maybe even find extra work. Reluctantly, I took on weekend shifts as a security guard at a construction site. The job paid decently but was grueling. Scorching summers, freezing winters, long hours standing in the elements. Many times I wanted to quit, but I kept going, driven by a mix of family loyalty and a stubborn desire not to feel lesser than my sister. Deep down, I clung to my grandfather's words, hoping that after these hard times, happiness would bloom for me, just like the Amandus of spring. Balancing my demanding job, weekend shifts, and studies for a professional certification left me exhausted, running on little sleep. But my coworkers showed unexpected kindness, often buying me drinks or food, noticing the effort I was putting in. I was doing everything I could to save money, cutting back on eating out, avoiding unnecessary expenses, but reaching that $112,000 monthly goal was still a stretch. Determined to boost my income, I threw myself into earning a professional certification, studying every spare moment I could find. My days blurred into a whirlwind of work, learning, and sheer determination. In the midst of this hectic schedule, I missed several calls from my parents. When I finally had a moment to call them back, I was met with immediate anger. "You're horrible, Amanda. What do you think of us?" My father yelled as soon as I answered, my mother's voice echoing agreement in the background. Confused, I asked, "What's wrong? Are you talking about the money I send?" I couldn't understand their fury. "Do you know how much Mira is sending? $112,000. And you send just 80 cents? Are you mocking us?" My father accused, his voice sharp with disdain. "That's impossible," I replied firmly, shocked by their claims. "I'm sending $112,000 every month." But they wouldn't hear it. "Don't lie. Mira earns more than you from her modeling. She's the one sending us $112,000 each month. I'm so disappointed in you." "Mira is so smart, so generous," my father continued, his tone heavy with disapproval. My mother chimed in, criticizing my lifestyle, accusing me of not caring about the family as much as Mira did. I was dumbfounded, overwhelmed by sadness, unable to find the words to defend myself. Then it hit me. There had been a massive misunderstanding. Mira had suggested we keep our contributions anonymous, using the pseudonym Rainbow. At the time, I didn't realize her stage name was Rain, and somehow, the transactions of 80 cents were mistakenly recorded under my name, Amanda, while Mira was credited with the $112,000 contributions. Before I could explain the mix-up, my parents declared they didn't need my mocking 80 cents and hung up, leaving me reeling. I felt a surge of anger and betrayal toward Mira for not clarifying our arrangement. Sleepless nights followed, my mind swirling with turmoil. Unsure whether to keep sending money, I turned to my high school friend, Scarlett, who worked at a consulting firm. Scarlett was known for her sharp mind and reliable advice, always straightforward but kind. When I requested a sudden meeting, she was surprised. "What happened, Amanda?" she asked, noticing my distressed expression as we met for lunch. I poured out the whole story, the misunderstanding, the accusations, the favoritism. After listening carefully, Scarlett responded thoughtfully. "Are your parents struggling financially? Aren't they still in their 50s? That $112,000 amount is staggering. It sounds like they might have debts or something else going on." Her words gave me pause, offering a fresh perspective on the emotionally charged situation. When Mira first suggested sending money to our parents, I had discussed it with Scarlett over lunch. She had been surprised then, too. "You say it's money spent on both of you, but you didn't even go to university, right? Isn't it mostly for Mira? And your dad is still working. There's no need to send $112,000 a month. It's unimaginable that they suddenly need that much when they've been living just fine." Her logic made sense, especially when she pointed out that if my parents thought my contribution was just 80 cents, maybe I should take the hint and stop the payments. "You're too kind, Amanda. You shouldn't let yourself be pushed around," she advised, her words striking a chord. I resolved not to be swayed so easily by family pressure. 3 months later, my phone rang incessantly one morning. It was Mira, clearly furious. "Why haven't you been answering your phone all morning? And why did you stop sending money on your own? What were you thinking?" she demanded, her frustration palpable. Overwhelmed by my own challenges, financial struggles, long work hours, and the emotional toll of my family's accusations, I felt the weight of her words. Through Scarlett, I had learned that Mira's so-called financial contributions were more about maintaining her pride and our parents' extravagant habits than any real necessity. Scarlett, who knew a friend of Mira's, had discreetly gathered information. She discovered that Mira often splurged on clothes and cosmetics, complaining to her friends, "My big sister is my source of funds, so I rely on her money. Lately, I've been struggling because I don't have money from my sister. I might have to cut back on facials and cosmetics for a while." It also came to light that my mother was indulging in luxury brands, and my father wasn't working but gambling, using my hard-earned money to fuel their wasteful lifestyles. The realization that my sacrifices were supporting their recklessness felt absurd. "Do you think I don't know Dad isn't working? My money isn't needed, right?" I confronted them later. My parents approached me after the $112,000 monthly payments stopped, having finally talked to Mira. Through tears, she admitted she hadn't been making nearly as much as she claimed. Her modeling gigs were sporadic, low-paying, often for cheap online catalogs. Despite her cute appearance, she lacked talent in singing or dancing, which hindered her success in the entertainment industry. This truth shifted my parents' attitudes sharply. "We've been strict with Mira. You don't worry and just keep sending money as before," they said, unapologetically demanding the 3 months of payments I had withheld. Their audacity stunned me. They even added, "We've prepared for 3 months, so please deposit it when you can. You're reliable after all." Their unrelenting greed pushed me to question their financial status further. I heard from Mira there was some debt. "Is that true?" I asked, seeking clarity. "Debt? There's no way. We covered the tuition with your grandparents' inheritance." They responded dismissively, brushing off my concerns. This conversation revealed deep discrepancies between what I'd been led to believe and the reality of my family's financial and moral landscape. My father confidently stated that Mira's claims about debt were untrue. "We just need a bit more for shopping," my mother added casually, as if their lifestyle was my responsibility. Since they believed my father's salary was sufficient, it was clear they were managing fine without my contributions. Why doesn't Mira get a full-time job then? I questioned, frustration boiling over. My father snapped back, "Is that how you speak to your own parents?" I didn't raise a daughter to act like this. My mother echoed, "We don't need a daughter like you if you're going to be like that." They even threatened to use the savings my grandfather had left specifically for me, saying, "We'll just use your grandfather's savings for you. You're no longer part of this family." Their willingness to cut ties over money left me shocked and deeply hurt. After they left, I broke down, feeling utterly disposable, questioning my value to my own family. 3 months of silence passed before my doorbell rang unexpectedly. Standing there were my parents and Mira, looking worn and tired, a stark contrast to my improved situation. I'd been working hard, studying diligently to earn a small business consultant certification, which significantly boosted my salary. Scarlett had helped me land a new job as a team leader, where I thrived, enjoying a fulfilling work life and even considering moving to a better apartment closer to work. "What's with the luxury?" my parents and Mira asked, almost accusatorily, noticing my nicer clothes and healthier appearance. "Before you indulge in such luxuries, give us some money," they demanded, pleading as if entitled to my earnings. Their desperation was palpable, yet they remained unapologetic. Disgusted by their attitude, I confronted them. "With Dad's and Mira's income, you can live comfortably. What's really going on?" I challenged. Mira, tears welling up, revealed her ongoing struggles in the modeling industry, far harsher than she'd let on. She had been scouted by another agency and invested a significant sum to join, believing it would kickstart her acting career. It turned out to be a scam, and the agency vanished with the money. At that moment, someone from a consumer finance company appeared at my door, asking if I was related to them, having traced my address. My family had borrowed a large sum, hoping Mira's career would rebound quickly. Mira had also been spending lavishly at nightclubs to relieve stress, worsening their financial woes. I was astounded by their reckless behavior and irresponsibility. When the finance agent asked if I was family, I firmly stated, "I don't know these people at all. I have nothing to do with them." It was a harsh response, but necessary to protect myself from their actions' consequences. This moment marked a definitive break, not just emotionally but legally, from my family's destructive patterns. After the chaos, my parents filed for bankruptcy. Their debts were wiped clean, but they had to sell our family home and move into a modest apartment. Both found jobs through a temp agency, making ends meet. Ironically, my father ended up working at the construction site where I'd once worked part-time. On his first day, a coworker greeted him with, "It's the old man. Help me out here. There used to be a young lady here before, but she quit." She worked hard, sending money to her parents. I'd love to see the faces of parents who'd make their daughter work here. My father's expression hardened, the weight of those words sinking in. Mira, having abandoned her modeling dreams, tried her luck in the nightlife scene. Her self-centered traits didn't sit well with customers, and she was quickly dismissed from various clubs and lounges, eventually scraping by with earnings from a small bar. Her lifestyle took a toll on her appearance, and among the regulars, tales of her modeling days seemed like distant, almost unbelievable memories. "A model? Who are you kidding? Look in the mirror," they'd mock. As for me, I severed ties with my family and focused on building my own life. 6 years later, I found myself at Scarlett's wedding, held in a scenic chapel in Tampa, USA, overlooking the sea. The vast blue stretched before us, the atmosphere charged with new beginnings. Next to Scarlett stood her husband, beaming with pride. Scarlett, who had focused on her career, had unexpectedly fallen in love with a colleague. During the wedding, she leaned over and said with a radiant smile, "Amanda, you should face your feelings, too. I achieve everything I want on my own and quickly discard what I don't need." Her husband chimed in jokingly, "Don't throw me away, okay?" Scarlett's wedding was a celebration of freedom, the freedom she helped me find. Scarlett, be happy. I'm so grateful to you, I said, my heart full. As the festivities drew to a close, Scarlett introduced me to a friend, Ethan, tall and well-built with a charming smile. He ran an architectural firm. I wanted to introduce Ethan to you, Amanda. Your personalities are so similar, Scarlett joked, sparking laughter among us. Ethan and I connected instantly, deciding to grab a meal together. As we talked and laughed, I felt a sense of hope and excitement bloom within me, much like the Amandas my grandfather loved. Moving forward, I plan to embrace both work and love, determined to live life to its fullest. Grandpa, please keep watching over me from above. I'll make sure to blossom fully, I whispered, a smile spreading across my face as I looked toward a bright, promising future.